Hello everyone, this is our fourth video of Linux commands. The next command I want to show you is a command line calculator. Now if you want to do calculations, you're not going to use a command line. But here if I go in the command line and I say 4 times 6, you see it's not going to do it for me. It's not going to say this is 24 or anything. So if I want to do some calculations here at the command line, I have to use the command line calculator, which I can get with the BC. Okay, so if I use BC now, look, it says, hey, copyright, right? And it shows me the software and everything. So now if I say what, 4 times 5, correct, or 4 times 6, I said, now I get the number. So now my command window is turned into what? It turned into a calculator for me, right? Or I say, for instance, 10 over 3 or anything. Now here, when I say 10 over 3, it just returns the integer part of it. But if I say scale equals 3, semicolon, and then 10 over 3, what is this? First of all, the semicolon that I use here is allowing me to add another line right after this. So here, these are two separate lines of command. So to put them all in the same line and separate them, I use semicolon. So this semicolon is different than what you have in MATLAB or C. Okay, and then when I say scale 3 and I do that, what does it do? That means, hey, use 3 decimal places and don't just show me the integer portion of it. Okay, so you see I can do that. Or I can use -L. If I use -L allows me to use some library functions like sine, cosine, square root, and so on, right? So I can say, hey, echo, and then square root 2, and then with the pipe BCL. But let me first get out of here. So I'm gonna use a quit first to get out of here, and now I'm gonna do it. So echo, and then what? Square root of 16, let's say. If I do that, it's just gonna show square root of 16. It's not gonna calculate this number for me. It is just gonna show it as a text. But if I say, hey, get that and pass it to the command line calculator with -L, look what it does. You see, now it returns the number for it, which is 4. And -L means what? Use the libraries here, okay? Yeah? Or for instance, instead of this, I say, hey, go ahead and give me the sign of, for instance, 90, huh? Would that work? Let's find out. So you see here that this one is not going to work because it doesn't have a sign function the way it is here. So if I don't have sign, what can I do? Well, there is this S here. Okay, S is the sign function. And you might say, okay, that doesn't look like 1 to me. Yes, because this sign function expected to be in what? In radians, not in degrees. So if you want it to be in degrees, you need to convert it to degrees. So you have to multiply this 90 by what? By pi, which is 3.1415, and then divided by 180. Now it is pi over 2. So now you see you get almost what? 1, and the reason it's not 1 because this is not perfectly pi, right? So the function is S, it's not sign. But here you can see that without going into the library and quitting, you can perform some calculations inside quotation with echo, but then pass it to BC with the library functions, and it is going to show the result for you. One of the commands that I really like is alias, and this is when you have a large command and you want to replace it with some shorter name alias, so you don't have to type the whole thing every time, and you can use the alias. Now here I use a short one, but you can use as long as you want some of those big ones. So let's say this, when you say ls and then -l-a, and you can add tons of other things. So instead of typing this, or you can use those sudo apt-get update, all of those things. So instead of typing this each time, now I'm gonna say, hey, alias, and then this is, I don't know, a new ls, just call it maybe ll instead, right? So instead of typing this, I just gonna use this one. I put it in single quotation, I say ll equals that. Now look, from now on, instead of typing this, I can simply say, hey, ll. Look, that does the job for you. So this alias is very powerful, especially when it's much longer than this. I mean, this is not the main one. But again, if you have some very long command, this one can do what? This one can do the job for you, right? So it can make it very long. For instance, let's say you have sudo apt get update and then sudo apt get upgrade, right? So I can combine commands with double and, so this one does two commands at the same time. And you see here, as soon as I provide my password, this is gonna do all of them together, right? You see, it's gonna fetch them, it's gonna install them and everything. So you can give all of this one a single name, call it a new alias update or anything, and just run it. Okay, so alias could make your life easier. You just need to remember what aliases you have created. Okay, let's talk about a few other things. And this is also about text manipulation. So one of them is the command sort. So this one can sort lines alphabetically, numerically, or anything. For instance, let's go to one of these text files that are I made, like this one here. So you see it has, this is the first line, second line. So let me get rid of this is, so it makes them really interesting enough. So now I can say, and I can just swap them around so you can see the result of that, and then 6 line, stuff like this. Okay, so this my file 1, I basically change it a little bit, and now I want to go and see if I can basically sort it. So I say what? I say sort, and then my file 1.txt, and you see now, instead of third one being the top one, right? Remember, this is how the file was. Third was first, and then first and second and sixth. Now they are in alphabetic order. Now if you want to do it alphabetic order reverse, you can use -r. So now T goes top, F goes to the bottom. Exactly opposite of this, right? And then you can, if there are duplicates, you can remove duplicates. You can use -u. So if you use -u, means if there are duplicates, go ahead and remove them in the sorting, right? And then there are a bunch of other options. For instance, if there is numerics in this, you can use -n. There are tons of options for the sort. So this is what this is. Sort, again, it does it alphabetically. If there is numbers in it, you can use -n to sort it numerically. The other command that is useful for text is called uniq. And this one is good if you want to remove or count how many duplicates you have here, right? So for instance, if you say, hey, go ahead and sort this file, right, which is this, but now I want you to, once you sort it and give me this result, I want you to pass the result of that to the uniq, right? Look here as well, they are completely different. Although the word line is the same, but it counts line, the whole line, and not one word, right? Yeah, so you see that it basically removes the duplicate, but in this case there was no duplicate. So to make it understandable, here I'm gonna add another one here maybe, and maybe another one here. So now I have a couple of duplicates, and I'm gonna save this, right? So now if I go back, look here, say hey, do it again. You see, if I do cat on this, it has 6 lines, but when I say give me only the unique one, it only gives me what? Only 4 unique ones. Now if I say how many uniques do you have, I can pass it to this unique and say -c. And here it counts for me. It says that, hey, the first line I had 2 duplicates, second line was 1, 6-1 was 2, third line was 1. And you see it's already also sorted because I passed it to the unique C. So this gives me the unique lines and as well as their occurrence for each case. So sort and unique. The next one is what you have already seen in my previous videos. That's the word count, or WC. And this one counts lines, words, bytes, anything that you want. For instance, if I say, hey, count WC of my file1 text, what does it do? It says 6, 12, 67. What does it mean? In 6 lines, 12 words, and 67 bytes in here, right? But if I want, let's say just the line only, what do I say? I say -L. Only give me the lines, and it says, hey, 6. Or only give me W, which means only the words, then it says 12. Or only give me the bytes, then I say C, and it gives me the bytes. Another thing I can do is I can use, for instance, if I have a bunch of text files and I want to count all of their lines, instead of this I can say *-text, right, but with the -L, so it gives me only the lines of all txt files. And now you see that I have a lot of that, and these are only the ones in the current directory, of course. So the first one has 6 in it, the second one has 1, the third one has, my file 3 has 3, and that wget that I got from internet has 4,900 basically txt in the file. Okay, the last 2 commands I want to show you are for changing permission and ownership. The first one is chmod, and this is to change the mode or permission of a file. For instance, if I use this command here, ls-l of my file1.txt, it shows me a bunch of information about this file. First, it shows me basically the permission of this file, and then it shows me who is the owner of the file, which is me, right? So what is this here? This dash means the file is a normal file. This RW dash means that the file for me is read and write. So I can read the file, I can write over the file, and dash, this dash means I cannot execute the file. It's not an executable. And then for the other users, right, in this case for the group permission and others, for the group it's only read only, and also for other users it's also read only, right? So that is how this file is. Now if I want to change that, I can use the command chmod, and I say, okay, go ahead and change what? Change the basically the permission of this file and make it, for instance, only read only, or just write only, or anything. the important thing to, or execute permission for the user or anything like that. So I can add execute. Now this is a text file, so execute doesn't really mean anything. But if you want to do that, if you want to be able to, for the user to also execute the file, you say chmod, and then you say u+x, and then you provide what the name of the file here. So that means allow the user to be execute this file. And you see it did. Now again, executing a text file doesn't really mean much, but now if I run it again on this, look now, the file is now, the first part of it is rwx, and that x means what? Means now I can execute this file. Now again, this is a text file, so execution is not necessarily super meaningful. Now a few things about this chmod is, so you see I use this. What does it mean, u+x? So here, if I want to tell you, u means user, right? So when I say u means for the user, do what? G means the group, and then O means others. Remember, there are 3 categories of people for the file access. And then basically there is also A, means all of them. If there is a plus, that means add permission. If there is a negative, means remove permission. And if there is equal, means set exact permission. Okay? And then the word R means read only, right? We also have W, or read, let's say. W is write, and X means execute. So when I say here that u+x means for the user, which is me, add +x. So add what to it? Add the execution. You see? So if you know this, you can exactly what? You can exactly understand what is it that you are doing here, right? So I can say, hey, echo all of this for me. So it shows it on the screen like that for you. And this is basically to understand how you can change it. So let's say I want to get rid of that X that I did for myself. I go back here and I say, hey, -X. Means get rid of that execute permission for me. It's a text file, I cannot execute it anyways. So now look, you see it went back to rw- instead of rwx. Okay, yeah, so I can do that. Or I can say, for instance, for the user, set it to R only, right? So I can say this, look, I say chmod, and then the user basically equals R. So the user can do only read. Now look again. You see, now I'm like other ones. I cannot write over that file. So to make it back, I can command it back to what? To make it for me what? R and W. Let's see if it does that. So R and W. So now I should be again back to whatever it was. So by plus, minus, equal, and UGOA and RWX, you can do whatever you want, and there are some also categories that you can use. So sometimes you see this command is used with some numbers. So you see they say chmod and then 755 and then the name of the file, like this. What does that mean? This 755 means make sure that the user is RWX, all of them, but R and X for a group and other. Or if you say 644, what does it mean? Means the user is RW, the rest of them are. Okay, so it does several settings all at the same time. So look here, if I do it this and I go back and look at it, you see now the group and the other are both Rx. But if I go back and say no, go ahead and do it basically 644. This is another one, means go back to this one here, that I'm read and write, the rest of them are all read. Okay, so this is a code, and now see that I got back to that. There is also a 700. I can do a 700. That means full access for me only. Look, you see, so I have everything, the rest of the people have nothing, right? And then if I say 600, that means I don't even have full access. I only have what? Read and write, not even execute. You see that? So using these, you can do any basically permission for read, write, execution for yourself, for the group, and for the other user. So that is the command chmod. Okay, the last command is to change the ownership. So last one, chmod, was change mode. This one is change ownership, and that is chown. So let's say I want somebody else to be the owner of this file, my file1.txt. So if I have that name here, I don't. But if I have another one, like for instance, Engineering Educator Academy to be the owner, I say, hey, go ahead and for my file1.txt, make this person to be the owner. And since I want to do change ownership, I use sudo to make sure that it is allowing it by asking for my password. So if there is a user other than me on this computer that is basically this name here, that person is now going to be the owner instead of what? Instead of me. Okay, thank you so much for your attention. Hopefully you learned some useful commands, and I'll see you in the next video.